Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, I have a great conversation lined up. This is Loren Fogelman with Business Success Solution. And if you are an accounting firm owner looking to be able to increase your revenue while being able to lighten your workload, you are in the right place. So today's topic is the talent shift in accounting and how actually firms can stay ahead. And I am speaking with Mike Max. So some things we're going to go ahead and cover today is how AI and automation can actually strengthen your accounting team and free capacity for strategic work. It's a hot topic that's coming up these days. Discovering some actionable strategies, because I don't want to just go with the higher level stuff. I want to go into some of the how-tos of mentoring accountants and developing leadership within your firm. And then the third thing we're going to cover is looking at how to attract, retain, and grow some top talent in a shifting accounting job market. So Mike's going to share a lot. He's very, very generous with his information, and we'll be able to let you know how to connect with him and follow up as well. So a little bit about Mike. He's an executive, the executive director of Aprio Firm Alliance, and that's where he's connecting firms to professional networks, resources, and coaching to drive growth and overcome challenges. He's a recognized thought leader, and he champions value-based work. We are very aligned on that, as well as inclusion and work-life harmony in the accounting profession. Now, before joining Aprio, he made the bold decision to go ahead and resign as a CPA firm owner and partner because he wanted to be able to transform some outdated practices and empower firms to embrace progressive business strategies. He's the past chair of the Connecticut Society of CPAs, a 2010 AICPA Leadership Academy alumnus, and a frequent speaker at industry events. In fact, we were just both talking about the fact that we both spoke at Firm of the Growth Forum. We don't know why we didn't bump into each other, meet each other then, but we will eventually do that. Anyway, if you want to find out more about Aprio Firm Alliance, you can go to Aprio, aprio.com. And now let's just go and get right into the conversation. So thanks for joining me, Mike. Happy to have you.
You're welcome, Loren. Fantastic to be here, and thanks for that great introduction.
Absolutely. And before we get into the conversation, I just want to hear a little bit about your journey. Aside from the fact that you were a partner in a firm and you went ahead and walked away from that, but really, what inspired you to step into more of leading the industry forward instead of just being a partner in a firm?
What got me thinking that was after I had been a partner at a firm for maybe 5 or 6 years, I realized that I was just maintaining something. I wasn't building anything anymore. And I had this sense that I could go do more. Like I should be building and not just maintaining. So I tried doing it internally at the firm. I said, all right, I could transition my book to the people that are doing the work right now and mentor them and help them be future leaders and partners. What else is there to go lead here? Like, we need to build something. We can't just be stagnant. Like, what is it? I don't care what it is. I'll try anything. Like, let me just go try. And this was after I was one of our CARES Act leaders too. So like, they knew I could do it. And they said, no, go back to being a tax line partner. And I was like, I'm all set with that. There's problems in the profession. I want to help fix them. I want to be on the forefront of trying to fix them. Not everything's going to be perfect, but it's not fantastic right now. So how much worse can we make it if we try some different things?
So based on trying different things, AI, outsourcing, technology is really changing the playing field as far as the professionals go. My feeling is that if firms don't adapt, they're going to end up being like Kodak and Blockbuster, and they're waiting too late and they wouldn't ever be able to catch up in order to remain relevant. So what are some of the changes that you've noticed that are having the most significant impact on the accounting talent pipeline right now?
On the accounting talent pipeline, it's leaders who are giving their younger staff the room and the capacity in their schedule to try the new technologies. It's okay if the leading partners don't know how to use ChatGPT perfectly, because they really don't need to. But if some of these artificial intelligence and automation tools are going to help your team do their job more efficiently. Let them try. It's similar to how when I was growing up and we had, paper reference books, whether it was the tax code or the gap. And the best leaders and mentors said, you always have 20 minutes to go look it up and try yourself. Like, go look up the answer for 20 minutes and then come ask me a question and tell me what you looked up. If we take that same mindset and we encourage our team, hey, always take 20 minutes and see, can Copilot do it? Can CoCounsel do it? Can our private instance of ChatGPT do it? And if you're starting to make some headway on it, like, keep going. I happened to do it yesterday. We had this project. We're trying to align two different data sets, and it would have taken, I'm not kidding, probably like 60 hours to do. It took an hour and a half of fumbling around with our internal Copilot of do this. Okay, don't do that. Okay, I need this instruction. Cool. And the Copilot was really good at telling me what I needed. It goes, I need the zip code, latitude, longitudes. Here's where you can go get them and put them into the spreadsheet. Great. Never would have thought of that. Thank you, Copilot. Go do that. Plug it in. And at the end of the day, what we found was how many people at Aprio live within like 25 miles of like our Alliance members, which was really fun because like now we know who else is close if we're going to visit. Like I can go see colleagues in Austin if I'm going to see an Alliance member in Austin, or if I happen to be traveling to Chicago, who lives close to there, which then helps me go meet more of my team members and get them more aligned with what our Alliance is doing. And it's just all sorts of good can come out of having that data. So giving people the permission and encouragement to go spend 20 minutes using the technology tools, I think is just as valuable, if not more so, than the 20 minutes that I was encouraged to take to go look it up in the tax code or look it up in the gap rules.
Yeah, you can accomplish a lot in 20 minutes using AI these days. And one of the things that I'm hearing from you that is so important is the culture. You want to be able to create a culture that inspires innovation. That's how so many of our actual day-to-day uses like sticky notes became available. It's because it was a culture that 3M had that encouraged innovation as opposed to stifled it. So think about the culture that you have in your firm and what it is that you're creating. Are you inspiring your team to be able to think for themselves and research and maybe even make mistakes, but see that as a stepping stone and learning tool? Or are you creating a culture where everything has to come through you? They have to ask permission, and that you're actually maybe stifling growth without even realizing it. So as I was preparing for our conversation today, Mike, one of the things that I came upon was Carbon has an AI and accounting report, and it says that AI is going to be taking the place and already is taking the place of so much new talent. And because of that, there's also this shrinking workforce. So as we know, it's been in the news. So many of the top 100 firms are replacing their junior staff or entry-level staff with AI solutions at this point. So that means that there's all these graduates that are coming out of school and they're not going to end up in a corporate culture. So how would this be maybe an opportunity for small, mid-sized firms to be able to maybe retain or even attract talent that they wouldn't have been able to touch a couple of years ago?
Oh, it's enormous and in such a good and awesome way. And I say this totally biased because I grew up in local accounting firms and my dad was a solo practitioner. And I got to do a little bit of everything in my career. So I knew what I wanted to go really do in it. If we look at like the bell curve of our profession, of where most local firms sit, many haven't developed a bench for the next generation of talent to come take it over. It is what it is. It's just an objective kind of notion. It's not a judgment. But what it means is if you're far enough away from retirement, we'll call it 10, 12 years, you can take some of this talent that is coming out of school that's tremendous. You could take some of the talent that learns they don't belong at one of the top 100 firms. And you can use that to help build the bench and the next generation of your firm in your community so that Fogelman Max can still continue to exist in the suburb of Arizona that we're in, right? And maybe we wouldn't have been able to do that because we haven't built a bench. We're too close to retirement age. We don't know how to do it. And it's like, no, now there's so many resources around it. Like alliances can help you build it because they're a community of other firms that are doing it, whether it's mine or another one. Like they can help you do it. State societies can help you do it. The AICPA's got toolkits and help you do it. There's lots of consultants that like you or other ones that are out there that can help firms do it. So the resources are all there for a firm. So if I'm a local firm owner, I can look at this stuff and say, okay, there's absolutely zero excuse why I can't make sure that my firm can continue into the future to serve this community because the people are here, the resources of how are here, the consultants who can help are here. There's a lot of people that are like me that are doing it, so we can all go through this change together instead of alone. And man, wouldn't that be fantastic if you could tell a kid come out of school, hey, between 8 and 12 years into your career, you could be a firm owner.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of when we came out, it was what, 20 to 25?
And that's exactly what I was thinking about as I was listening to you talk. It made me think about one of my current clients where she's ready to exit and she was able to bring in some really great talent. She mentored this person for maybe the last 3 years or so. And this person who is, in her mid-30s, young kids at home, wants to be able to work from home, but wants more than just the traditional junior level position, is going to now has been getting mentored and is stepping into ownership. She's going to be taking over this firm and buying it. So I see that it's not just about the exit strategy of maybe selling to someone else, but a lot of times if you're bringing in great talent and you're mentoring them, you might be able to have that next person right there in your firm who already knows your culture. The clients already know them, and it makes it a very easy transition.
Yeah, as the exiting owner, what you're also doing with that 3-year investment of mentoring, you're you're guaranteeing that the check that you want written to you for this new owner coming in can be written because there's enough profitability in the company that the next generation owner can make their living as an owner and have enough profitability to pay you for everything that you've built. And if it's going really well, enough to invest in the future of that company to keep it moving forward. Like that economic platform like can work. But you hit the nail on the head. It starts with that firm owner investing the 3 years in the talent of mentoring the person, which is a two-way street. The person's got to want to be mentored. They have to understand how much they're going to learn, that they're going to mess stuff up. And it's going to work out okay. But man, it's hard as an accountant to screw up
Absolutely.
because we're so good at getting the right answer.
Yeah. And in that you have to be willing to, train someone up that is going to make mistakes. They're not going to do it like you do. But as long as you work closely together and you start to develop some of those SOPs, you're going to have things more standardized than when you keep it all in your head.
Right. And let's not forget the other thing that this firm owner did that was really smart. They hired someone from the outside to help them. So it wasn't all on them. Right. You got to help this firm owner, one, probably come up with the plan and then execute it and make sure that they were executing it. That's an enormous step that most firms like don't think is as important because like, oh, well, what do they know? I've been running the firm for 30 years. Well, they know everything that you don't because you've been running the firm for 30 years. You've seen more stuff. You've been at more firms. You've heard more stories. You can come in and say, well, for Mike to be the next generation leader here, here's some of the things that you need to go work on. Here's some of the things he needs to work on. And here's where you're both like really, really aligned. And having that external coach is huge. I can't say enough about business coaches. I've got one. Most of the managing partners I know have one. Like they're people like you are fantastic for other leaders.
Well, you know what? I've had them also along the way, and I believe that it goes right into mentorship, which you want to get into in a moment. But one of the things that I believe is that anytime someone on your team is touching a keyboard, then it probably can be done some way by AI or software. So that's what's happening at this point is there's things going on in your firm where you're touching keyboards, then there's probably an AI or software solution. And I believe that these newer accountants that are coming into the pipeline at this point, they don't want to do the data entry to be able to start to get some of the ground level training. That's like really boring for most of them. They want more than that. And they grew up on technology. So they're very, very comfortable with using technology in ways that the aging generation that is now retiring isn't. So one of the things that I see as a differentiator that is really what inspired our conversation today was all about the mentorship, like you said. So let's talk about what mentorship might look like as and be appealing to maybe someone who's just starting out in their career, and how the smaller to mid-sized firms have that advantage over the top 100.
So from the newer accountant's standpoint, I would say be open to learning the history and experience of the mentor. It's going to be different than what you grew up with, right? Because this person's got 20, 30 years, and some of their stories are going to sound so old and outdated, you're going to laugh. Like, I used green bar paper during my career. Like, most people don't even know what that is anymore, never mind students coming out of school. But like, you hear some of those stories about this is how someone's career has progressed and the technology changed during that career. So like, the point of the stories aren't I used green bar. It's, look, we used green bar, we used Excel, we used QuickBooks, we moved down the line as technology was introduced to continuously get better. And I listened to the people that came before me with their experience and their stories, so I could tell, like, oh, this technology could be really impactful for what we do. And then I took ownership and tried to use the technology to make it impactful for what we do before my mentor could figure that out, because they were more experienced, knew how to do what they did, but also their primary job wasn't the day-to-day nuts and bolts. It was the advisory conversations with the business owners, with the high net worth individuals. So the mentor side of this is encourage your team to be on the forefront of what technology is available and how it can impact what the firm is doing and what the clients need. And probably honestly in the other order, what the clients need first and what the firm is doing. Because if you can go to your partner at the firm and be like, so I figured out a more efficient way to categorize the expenses on this 67-page general ledger so that we could do a tax return and financial statement easier. Mm-hmm. Okay, I did that. It was 2003, but I figured out a software that could do that. 25 years later, that sounds like an archaic use of software. Guess what? In 10 years, what someone's doing right now is going to sound like an archaic use of software. But if you're paying attention to what's coming out and what your clients need, then you could be the one to take this idea to your firm and say, all right, so, and then present your business case, right? And as the mentor, if you're encouraging your team to pay attention to those things, to spend an hour a week, like reading a technology journal or reading the Journal of Accountancy to see what has come out, reading the CPA.com, subscribe to those emails each month about what the newest things are. Heck, like just listen to what like Byron and Liz Mason and Donnie and some of those like people that have been in the IT space and accounting for a long time, like what they're doing. Follow them on LinkedIn. Like look at the Advisor Amplified group that's going around now. Like the people that are out there shifting and changing what we're doing are much easier to find than when we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really long-winded answer. Did I touch on what you wanted me to?
That's okay. It inspired a couple of different thoughts, so I might get tangential. The first thing I was thinking about as I was listening to you talk is that there's actually a new concept of cross mentorship. So it's not always from the top down any longer. Sometimes it's from the bottom up because of the fact when you're bringing in people that are younger than you, or even people that are from different cultures than you, it creates thought diversity. And there are studies that show that diversity is actually something that strengthens a firm for scaling and growth than if everybody looks like everybody else and just says yes. So that's one of the things. Why don't you I can see you chomping at the bit, Mike, that you want to respond to that. So why don't you do that, and then I'll go with my other thoughts.
Yeah, I mean it's not IT based, but you're totally right, and I totally agree that the diversity on a team strengthens it. It makes it move faster. People respect other opinions and perspectives. Like I was building a small team within the alliance, and what I found, Joey, my colleague, she's the polar opposite of me in every way, but we're both totally aligned with what we want to do, like go impact the profession in a positive way. She loves the Enneagrams, and so she knew her like order of 8 things, and she looked at me and she goes, "I bet yours is the exact opposite of mine." So she had me take it, and yeah, mine is the inverse of hers, where she's an 8, like mine's down here. Her 1 is here, mine's here. Um, I've probably got the numbers wrong, and if she's listening, she'll probably text me and correct me right now. But like that was the idea of building a team and getting that diversity. Oh, you could do so much like with people that are with different perspectives than you can if everybody thinks the same way.
Okay, the other part that I wanted to touch on regarding the mentorship is I just submitted an article to one of the platforms on feminine leadership because there are more women going into accounting now than there are men. However, if you look at the C-suites, it's still primarily men as opposed to women. It's not an equal ratio, but studies also show that women rise up faster when they actually have a mentor than when they don't. So it's something just to think about in general is the diversity, as well as if you're having women coming into your firm and you want to see them move up the ladder, but they're not moving up fast enough. Mentorship is one way to be able to accelerate their careers as well. So with Aprio, have you seen anything like that that kind of speaks to what I'm talking about with the feminine leadership?
I have. One of our partners, Lexi Kessler, she's the chair of the board of the AICPA right now. Nicole Mitchell leads our client accounting and advisory services practice. We have a number of women leaders within Aprio, and one, they mentor each other. They mentor men on their team. Some of the future leaders, like Jacelyn is one of our government contractor like leaders. Like she mentors men. She's been mentored by men. She's been mentored by women. So one, I totally agree. Like mentorship is super helpful. It's a nice, safe place that you can fail forward. Like you get the support to go try things, and you get to bounce ideas off someone without ever feeling like you're dumb. And like as a man who's tried to, be an ally and advocate and mentor for women in my career, the biggest thing that I learned to be the most helpful is believe their stories.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever someone's experience is, just believe it. Start there. So if I'm talking about how I came through a firm and then Loren, you go, this is what it was like for me, instead of saying, that wasn't how it was for me. Really? Like it was that different? Like I'm kind of curious. Like, can you dive in more and like what that was like? Because while it wasn't my experience, I totally believe it was yours. And I want to learn and add this into the things that I now might know. Not that I experienced it, but if I'm trying to mentor another woman later on, I'd say, hey, I knew someone that went through that too. Here's how she dealt with it.
So
So yes, mentoring helps. Believing people helps.
So one of the things that I was wondering is, what have you seen that's working now for the small to mid-sized firms that want to actually help attract those talents? If they don't know someone locally and it's not someone who's referred to them, what's actually grabbing the attention for people that are searching for those positions? And how are firms maybe standing out so that they're actually getting people wanting to work for their firms?
What I'm hearing from the students coming out is they want 2 plans that are loosely defined for them in their careers. One is a career path through partner. Not that they might want to get all the way up to partner, but they want to know what are the general steps and what's required in each one. And then related to that, how are you going to train me to continue to develop me? I've been in school for 20 years. I'm good at learning. I want to go apply my knowledge, but I know there's a lot left for me to learn. So, what's the learning plan look like over the next 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years. How do you train people up so that they can move through this ladder? The firms that can go into an interview with a candidate with that kind of information, they can stand up next to some of the national and regional firms that have those learning paths and career paths built out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the differentiators that has mattered for a long time. And if you're now competing with more local and regional firms with fewer hires going to the national firms from your other comment, you don't have to be better than a top 10 firm at learning and development. You need to be better than the 5 firms within 20 miles of the university that you're recruiting at. So you don't have to be the absolute best, but you need a plan. And let's be honest, if you're hiring a staff accountant, you don't need the whole 10-year plan built out.
Right.
You need the plan, you need the first 2 years built out, and you can build 3 and 4 during 1 and 2, and you can adapt the plan as our landscape changes over the next decade. And that could even be something you tell the students that you're interviewing. Like, I didn't map out the whole learning plan for 10 years because I'm not entirely sure what we're going to need to learn in for. Like, this is what I kind of think. We'll be doing some more advanced, tax technical or assurance technical items. But maybe the technical software coupled with AI is able to solve so many more of that. So what you really need to do is I need to know enough about the language in there to prompt it correctly.
Mm-hmm. And part of what I'm hearing, Mike, is that the conversation is a little bit different. It's not just about them proving why they ought to work for you. You need to now make it attractive so that they want to work for you because they have options.
They do. And if most of the firms, they're trying to build up that bench and they want people to stick around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a student and you were really excited to go to one of the top 10 firms and then the world and landscape changed and now maybe you're a little disappointed that you didn't end up at a top 10 firm because that's all anybody ever talked about at college. There's so many pros about working at local firms. Like the in-depth type of work you could do start to finish, from like QuickBooks to financials to tax returns to individuals. You could do the whole thing. You could be in more client meetings earlier. Like you get exposed to a lot more variety and a lot more depth in client relationships. And if that's your jam and you really like doing that, you just found the perfect kind of place for you. And some people, though, they'd much rather have 4 clients that they audit, and each audit takes 3 to 4 months. I've got friends like that. They love it. I'd probably go insane. But they'd go insane if they had 250 tax clients.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty of the profession is there's something for all of us. So, yeah, the firms are trying to show the kids why the kid should pick the firm. Because there's more local firms out there. And the more firms that figure out that there's a great opportunity with talent right now, the more competition shows up at the local university or the local interview day at the state society.
And as far as culture goes, do you think that there's an advantage for the firms that are more team-centered and maybe adaptive to the fact that people have lives outside of work also, as opposed to the ones that are more of that corporate culture?
Adaptive for sure. And I think of it over a lifetime of someone's career.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen staff accountants need time off for marriages and children. I've seen partners need time off for marriages and children, or family members that are sick at both levels. Like, it happens. Like, our managing partner's dad was in hospice during a tax season and we all picked up the slack. We've also had staff accountants whose best friend got married at a destination wedding in March. And we're like, yeah, you should go. It's your best friend's wedding. Like, we'll pick up the slack for 5 days. That kind of adaptiveness within a firm, one, you're super appreciative when you're the one asking for it. And 2, you owe some karma back to the people that helped you out. So when your colleague has something, whether it's an opportunity or an unfortunate thing, you want to help because someone helped you. You know you'll end up even.
Mm-hmm.
It creates a greater team atmosphere, as you were saying. and it keeps us away from like that 8 to 5 button seat mindset and more on the, hey, so we promised Loren that we'd get this project to her by next Thursday, which means I need to look at it by Tuesday. Could you get it to me by Monday night? Sure. All right, great. I'm going to check in with you on Thursday and Friday to see how you're coming along on it because it's a longer project. And does that work out for your schedule? Because it doesn't bother me when you get it done. If you want to work from 10 to 5 in the office, go read your kid a bedtime story and then work from 8:30 till 10:30. Great.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually something I have personal experience with. I come from a family of CPAs, and my son-in-law, he works with a firm that is very, very family oriented, even though they're a mid-sized firm, very family oriented. And that when he needed to take time off because of some family matters that needed to be attended to, they were very, very adaptive. They let him, do what he needed to do during the daytime, and he could flex his hours. And there wasn't any issues about that or threats about that whatsoever. And I will let you know, because of this firm being so family oriented and him having small children at home, he's had offers from headhunters that would be better as far as pay goes. But the family adaptability matters to him, and he is loyal to the end with this particular firm. So I just want to say, yes, the pay is really important, but there's other softer things that matter just as much to people.
I totally agree. I had a job offer to go work in New York City once. And it was for, I'm not kidding, more than twice what I was making.
Mm-hmm.
I paused for about 10 seconds and I said, your number's not even close. And the guy was like, that was fast. I was like, yeah, I got 2 kids under 12. They do soccer and dance. You're asking me to work in the city Monday to Thursday. That means my wife has to take everybody everywhere. There's only one of her. There's 2 of them. It also means I miss everything during the week. I got to pay for my own hotels and all this happy fun stuff. I was like, I'm not selling that part of my soul for $100,000. The guy was like, no one's ever put it that way. I said, yeah, there's a reason why you called me. And a lot of people think that way, and they're able to describe it in terms that matter to them, like your son's flexibility with the kids. Like, I remember that. Like, my kids used to Skype call me because they figured out how to hit the right buttons.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be awesome to see her at work at 4:30 in the afternoon, and all of a sudden my Skype rings on the middle of a text string. I'm like, yay! Like they're saying hi.
Okay, Mike. So, kind of thinking ahead to the future, 5, 10 years down the road, because of AI solutions, it's changed how the profession is moving and working, and that it's given an opportunity now for these small to mid-sized firms. So, what do you see as the future that's going to be happening regarding the talent pipeline and where accounting firms need to go in order to remain relevant?
I think in the accounting pipeline, my general rule of thumb that has evolved is keep 20% of the work that can be automated in-house so you have something to train your people on so they know what they're looking at when the automated work is done and they have to review it. Whatever that stuff is, it's going to change over time because more stuff can get automated and AI'd. Keep 20% in-house, use it to train. Look at the overall client base for that type of thing for what your margins are, not the 20% that is obviously slower because you're having humans do it. As we take that type of mindset and we evolve it forward as well, we're going to be in a great position to help our individual clients with where they want to go and grow. Because we won't be spending as much time ticking and tying numbers, putting numbers in the right boxes, double checking inputs. We'll have more time to evaluate the results, sit down with the client. What are your goals for the next 3 or 5 years? Big, hairy goals, next week goals. Like, let's go through them and what do we see in this data? What can we do to help you do that? That's going to be very valuable to clients. And it's going to shift us from starting with the compliance that we can do because we're expert technicians and we're trying to be advisory to some of them to we're an advisory led business. And of course, we can do the compliance. That's where the data is sitting that allows us to be good advisors. Some firms are already moving in that direction. And the CAS work is a great place to go mine that type of data. But so is an audit, so is a tax return. And the more services you have with a firm that you're doing, like you can really go help them with what they want. And where I think the model for the local firms is really going to shift is instead of the firm being in the middle and having a bunch of clients, a client is going to be in the middle, and there's going to be a couple of firms serving that client with what they are very specifically good at, their niche.
Mm-hmm.
You'll do the CAS work. I'll be the primary advisor based on that work. Sherry will do the tax return. And because this company is a manufacturer, our manufacturing operations niche friend over there, Michelle, she's going to be able to come in and help this firm with the operational thing that we identified through the data you gave me as the advisor to bring Michelle in and say, all right, Jan, here's how you can really improve the operations to go get where you want to go for this expansion in your company. Like that's what I think is going to happen in 5 to 10 years for the best clients at a firm, is it won't just be that firm's client.
So you're talking about the 80-20 rule, outsource whether offshore or AI for 80% of the work. That's the lower level work, 20% keep in-house for training. Also, this allows you to free up time to invest more with your clients. So if you are a client-centered firm, this is something that is perfectly aligned, is to actually put them first. And that if you want to be forward-thinking, then really instead of thinking about just you being the only accountant or resource for your clients, look at how to maybe have a team approach with other alliances in order to be able to better serve the clients and what it is that they need and what it is that they want to achieve and the impact that they want to make. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
No, that was a pretty good summary.
Okay. Just want to make sure I got all the points. I was listening well. So Mike, every single time we talk, it is a really engaging conversation. I'm constantly learning from you. And some of the things that we touched on today was how AI and automation can actually free up a team to work on higher level, higher value work, the impact of mentorship and the culture that will attract ambitious accountants to it, and some strategies to be able to retain and build that strong bench for the future. So, Mike, if somebody wanted to connect with you and find out more about Aprio, what is the best way for them to do that?
Sure. So find me on LinkedIn, if you could spell my last name, but it's MAKSYMIW. There's probably 2 or 3 of us on there, but you'll see my picture. We got AprioFirmAlliance.cpa is our alliance website. And of course, Aprio.com can get you to the alliance as well. And you can kind of see a little bit more about what Aprio is about with its head and heart approach to client service and our team here.
Mike, thank you so much for joining me. This is Loren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to be able to double their revenues while working half the time. Take care.